Imagine waking up one morning. Yesterday, you had enough money to buy a house, but today, that same amount can only buy a loaf of bread. Your salary loses value the moment it hits your hand. People aren't carrying wallets anymore. They're carrying wheelbarrows full of cash. Sounds like a dystopian story, doesn't it? But this actually happened. It's called hyperinflation, and it's happened in more countries than you might think. We like to believe money is stable, reliable, trustworthy, but history has proven the opposite again and again. I say this in every video. The collapse of money doesn't just destroy economies. It destroys governments, families, and empires. Hyperinflation is like a fire. It begins quietly, then burns everything in its path. Now, let's look at 5 nations whose currencies turn to ash. And in the end, remember this. Inflation whispers at first, but when no one listens, it screams. After World War I, Germany was brought to its knees. The Treaty of Versailles placed a crushing debt of 132 billion gold marks on the country's shoulders, a burden so large that generations couldn't have paid it back. So, what did Berlin do? It printed money, tons of it. At first, it seemed manageable. Then prices doubled, then tripled, then exploded. By 1923, a loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. People were burning cash to stay warm. Children played with stacks of notes like Lego bricks. The middle class, those who had saved their entire lives, were wiped out in weeks. But the real collapse wasn't in numbers. It was in trust. When a society loses faith in its own currency, commerce, contracts, salaries, savings, all collapse. And that collapse isn't just economic, it tears apart the social order itself. Out of that chaos, someone like Hitler emerged, because when people become desperate, extremists find their moment. In the early 2000s, Zimbabwe's government, isolated by sanctions and economic mismanagement, seized the country's most fertile farmland. Agricultural production collapsed, and the solution came printing money. By 2008, inflation had reached 79 billion%. Prices doubled every single day. Think about it. What cost $250 yesterday cost $500 the next morning. Eventually, the government printed $100 trillion bills, but they were nothing more than worthless paper. People abandoned their own currency and switched to the US dollar and South African rand. What disappeared wasn't just money, it was trust. Pension funds evaporated, factories shut down, and millions fled abroad. Who survived? Those who owned land, had skills, or real assets. In other words, those who had real wealth. After World War II, Hungary was like a house in ruins. The government had only one option left: print money to pay its debts. The new currency, the pengo, lost value the moment it was printed. Prices doubled every 15 hours. Yes, not every day, every 15 hours. Inflation reached 41.9 quadrillion%. That's 41 quadrillion 900 billion%. The state issued new notes. The mil pengo, 1 million pengo. Then the B pengo, 1 billion pengo. But nothing worked. Eventually they gave up and started over with the forint. But the damage was done. The middle class vanished. Savings were erased. And once again, trust was destroyed. The only question left in people's minds was, will it happen again? A nation rich in oil, but drowning in poverty. Since the 2010s, Venezuela has collapsed under corruption, price controls, and unlimited money printing. By 2018, inflation reached 1 million%. A paycheck lost half its value the day it was received. Supermarkets emptied. Barter returned. Doctors and engineers fled the country. The government tried to hide the crisis by cutting zeros from the currency. But along with those zeros, they also erased hope and trust. In the 1990s, as Yugoslavia tore itself apart, war, sanctions, and failed policies destroyed the economy. By 1993, inflation hit 313 million% per month. Prices doubled every 1.4 days. New currencies, new zeros, new lies. But the result was always the same: collapse of confidence. People used German marks and US dollars just to survive. The official currency became a joke good only for wallpaper or lighting cigarettes. To those who say, that was a different time, was it really? Today, global debt is at record highs. The United States alone owes over $34 trillion. Central banks have printed trillions for years to suppress interest rates and delay crises. And for a while it worked, until 2021 to 2022. After the pandemic came supply shocks, energy crises, wars, and floods of new money. Inflation returned. Central banks panicked and raised rates. Markets shook. And once again, ordinary people paid the price. Rents soared, food costs climbed, wages froze, and people started asking once more, what is money? There are 3 lessons to learn from this story. 1. Real wealth is not paper, and it never will be. Real wealth is trust. Land, skills, production, knowledge. When money collapses, these survive. 2. The value of money is belief. When people stop believing in the money in their hands, it's already over. 3. Inflation is a slow thief. If you don't notice it, one morning you'll wake up and realize your freedom has been quietly stolen. The 5 great hyperinflations of history weren't accidents. They were born from bad governance, war, arrogance, and denial. And they all shared one dangerous lie. We can fix it by printing more money. But history always gives the same verdict. Those who corrupt money write their own end. If this video made you see the world differently, don't forget to subscribe. Because history still asks the same question. Who profits and who pays?